Hi, I'm Gordon Coyle, and today I answer the question, does my insurance company actually have the right to inspect my books for an audit? On occasion, we'll have a client resist handing over information to their insurance company auditor to perform the annual audit on their general liability or workers' comp policy. The two most common policy audits are performed on. For both workers' comp and general liability, you'll see the words estimated premium or you'll see subject to audit contained within the proposals or quotes as well as the policies themselves. This is because the final premium you pay is based on the actual rating exposures you have over the policy term, which is unknown at the beginning of that term. As an example, let's take workers' compensation since it's pretty easy to understand. Workers' comp premiums are based on payroll. In its simplest form, the premium you pay is based on the rate by each workers' comp class code times the amount of payroll expended in that code over the policy term. There are several modifications and additional rating factors, but predominantly it's rate times payroll. At the beginning of the policy term, you estimate how much payroll you will have. You should give your agent your best estimate because you don't want to overpay during the year, and consequently you don't want to underestimate and end up paying a large audit at the end of the year anyway. In fact, it's a good idea to check in at the 6-month point of the policy term with your agent to see if a midterm adjustment is a good idea. If your payrolls are up, it's typically easier to pay the additional premium for that increased exposure over the remaining policy installments rather than an audit, which is around 45 days after your policy renews and you've just paid the down payment for that renewed policy. Anyway, after the close of the policy, you'll be notified that your insurer wants to perform an audit to verify your actual exposures. They may send a voluntary audit report that you'll fill out and send back to the insurance company, or they may wish to send an auditor to your office to physically inspect your books and records. And this is where some friction happens occasionally with some clients. I understand wanting to keep your business records confidential, but this is a premium audit and it's not avoidable, and the information they collect goes no further than the insurance company. It's actually a condition of the contract of insurance, and rebuffing your insurer or refusing to allow them to inspect your records will only lead to trouble. In both the general liability and workers' compensation policy forms are sections in the policy conditions that outline audit requirements. In the workers' comp policy, the audit section of the policy says, "You will let us examine and audit all your records that relate to this policy." It then goes on to list all the applicable record types and when audits may be conducted. This section ends with, "Information developed by this audit will be used to determine the final premium." The general liability policy is similar, saying that we may examine and audit your books and records as they relate to this policy at any time during the policy periods and up to 3 years afterwards. Many insurers also include a policyholder's notice, which dives deep into the audit procedures and what books and records are needed to comply with an audit with every auditable policy. In addition to the insurer's rules on audits, there are also state laws and regulations governing the requirements of insurers to audit certain policies and the frequency of those audits. The bottom line is that policy audits are a fact of life when it comes to insurance. As mentioned, at the inception of the policy, the exposures upon which the policy premium is based upon is an estimate. At the conclusion of the policy, the insurer and you need to know what the actual exposure is. If that exposure, usually payroll or sales, is less than the original estimate, you're due a credit. If it's more than the original estimate, you'll owe the insurer additional premium. Refusing to comply with an audit is a non-starter, because here's what happens in most cases. The insurer will make multiple attempts to collect audit data. If you don't comply, the insurance company will send you an estimated audit, which is usually 2 times your original premium. If you don't comply and continue to ignore the estimated billing, the insurer will then threaten collection proceedings and then eventually place your audit into collections. This, of course, can damage your firm's credit ratings, and you'll be hounded until that estimated premium is collected. It's just not the way to go. And in some cases, like with the New York State Insurance Fund, they have a memory like an elephant, and they'll refuse to rewrite your coverage even 10 years down the road unless you pay up. Insurance company collections departments are also unrelenting, so continuing to ignore them won't work. They don't ever give up. What if you do comply with an audit and you don't think it's correct? That's simple. You dispute the audit. but you will need to come up with a logical and documentable reason behind your dispute. If you dispute it because you just don't want to pay more premium, then you're going to be back to that disputed amount going into collections and possibly jeopardizing your current term's coverage. What if you have a large additional premium and you just can't afford to pay it all? In my experience, most insurers are willing to work with clients who incur a large additional audit premium by breaking down the amount due over several months. You'll just need to ask. Refusing to pay will not help. The bottom line is that insurance premium audits are a fact of business life. If you comply with the rules, you won't have problems. If you choose to not comply with the rules, there's always going to be problems that won't go away, regardless of the tactics you may deploy. Have other questions, issues, or problems regarding your business insurance you need help with? Give me a call. My contact info is coming up. I love to help business owners when it comes to their insurance. Thanks.